All right. You were listening to formerly the Battle Ready podcast, now the McManus podcast with Erwin McManus and Aaron McManus. I'm here with my dad, Erwin. How are you?
I'm good, but I'm so glad we're keeping our Battle Ready format because so many of my friends, when they heard the bye-bye Battle Ready, they're like, no. We love the bantering. We love the conversation between you and Aaron. Aaron has to be on the show. So Aaron, even though you want to retire at the prime age of 34, you're not allowed to.
I turned 35 this year.
Yes, you do.
That is crazy to think. I'm getting older.
You're so young.
I'm getting older, though. I'm getting older, mid-30s. It's such a different way of looking at it.
Well, now you have track record. You have a life you've lived. You've things you achieved. It's like you're in a good space.
We're in a good space.
Yeah.
I'm so excited about the future. I mean, I could not have imagined our life in 2023. In 2020, I could not have imagined. We were about to do like some app with some guys. We were, Mosaic and COVID and like everything was so crazy. I could not have imagined taking that job. It's so, and that was a really hard year for me to then come to where we're at now. And I think life is the best it's been. And we have a phenomenal team and we're starting these new businesses and we're designing new clothes, which you're wearing right now.
With our new brand.
The new brand.
That's launching Ghost
Say
Artifacts.
the name.
Ghost Artifacts. And it's such a cool name. And just going back a little bit in the process during the pandemic when I sent you a text saying, hey, I think we should go back into fashion. And you're like, Dad, this is a bad idea right now. Please don't do that. And I said, I'm going, you coming? And you always come anyway with me. And at first it was really me trying to tie the thread between 10 years ago when we were in fashion and now. And so I began with some of the repurposed material from World War II. We did, some jackets, anoraks, different things. And then we just kept the repurposing theme, found some pieces that we could create these great short coats. And then we went with the Canton quilts. So we kind of had a very colorful, almost over the top, very bright. And we wanted to bring like hope and happiness into the space of fashion. And that's been so much fun. But we're definitely like evolving and finding our sweet spot. Mm-hmm. And that to me just led us to this next phase where McManus Gallery is sort of a backdrop of us celebrating not just getting to be in design, but celebrating other designers, which has been your vision to create a space where we could even highlight other designers we love. In the
McManus Gallery?
Yeah, in our gallery space.
Yes, it grows, yeah.
But then to have our own brand, which would be Ghost Artifacts. And I don't know if we ever shared how we came with the name.
No, I don't think we ever talked. I don't think we talked about it yet. This is the first time.
Can we do that?
Sure, let's talk about it.
All right. So I woke up one morning and we were doing McManus Gallery, and I just got flooded with these different ideas. But one of them was growing up, I was really affected by graphic novels, by comic books.
Okay.
And going back and forth between El Salvador and the United States, between San Salvador and Miami. One of the perks of being a 5-year-old flying on planes basically by yourself with your brother was you'd always get to buy these comic books. And so I had these collections. And my main characters were Daredevil and another character called the Phantom. And the motto for Daredevil is the man without fear. But the motto for the Phantom is the ghost who walks. And the reason he was the ghost who walks, he was a superhero in Africa and working with the indigenous tribes there. And it was a hero to the peoples there. But whenever he died, he would come back to life like 3 days later. And this happened for hundreds of years. And so he was the ghost who walks because they couldn't understand how he could conquer death. But what was really happening was that it was a story of legacy. It wasn't him, it was his son and his grandson, his great-great-son. So for over 10 generations, the Phantom passed on this heroic narrative to the generations to come. And what I loved about the Phantom was that it was his superpower was his legacy and not his talent. Wrote down Ghost, the ghost who walks. And then I started looking through the scriptures where when Jesus was walking across the water, it says the disciples were afraid because they thought Jesus was a ghost. And then when after Jesus rose from the dead, when he says to Thomas, come touch my hands and see that I'm not a ghost. And then going back to remembering growing up with my Roman Catholic background of how we would pray in the name of the Father and Son and the Holy Ghost. And so all those metaphors just kind of came to me from this legend of this hero who is the ghost who walks, to the legend and story of Jesus, who they thought was a ghost, and then of the Spirit of God who dwells within us, who in ancient language was called the ghost. And so I remember calling you and saying, I had this idea, I think we should change the name to Ghost. And then you said, hey, I've been really thinking about this word artifacts. And could we incorporate that somehow? And so we took basically this idea that I was inspired with, as an idea that you were inspired with, and came up with Ghost Artifacts, which I thought was pretty amazing, because a ghost is something you can't see. And an artifact is something you can see, that was proof of something that you can no longer see. And so when you take these two words, you have the invisible and the visible, and you have the unseen and the seen. And then out of that, we just had a lot of conversations, and said I kind of love to have this moniker underneath Ghost Artifacts that is proof of afterlife. That we, in that sense, become the artifacts. We become the proof of the spirit, the proof of the eternal, the proof of the afterlife. That we are not just proof of life, we're proof of afterlife. And so anyway, that's in my mind the way I remember how the story went. It probably is different in your mind.
So we have the name. Here we go. Ghost Artifacts. It's going to come out soon, in the next few months. It's very exciting. And, I very appreciate it. I think, we've come a long way from the beginning of this journey of the last few years of creating things. And now it's time to really lock it in and build the brand. And I'm really excited to get away from our name a little bit, but also get heavier into the things that we're into, and really dive deeper into fabric and storytelling and branding, and really, go somewhere with it. So, if you want to if you want to join in for the journey, you can go to the Instagram Ghost Artifacts. It's still private, but we'll allow people in soon once I have some photos of stuff. It's coming in. So we're doing it live. You have the hoodie. We literally made it on we made it on Wednesday and Thursday of last week, and you wore it home, which is exciting. I have one being made, which is exciting. Once I can get back to New York next week, I'll pick it up and bring it back, and hopefully wear it very soon. But I'm really excited. I think such unique fabric, such unique stories, such a unique way for us to kind of express ourselves in a different way. And one of the exciting things, I have to make a suit for these weddings that I'm going to with my girl, and we have 3 weddings. And there's more weddings. There's another I'm going to a wedding on Saturday night. Did you know this?
So you have 3 weddings?
No, there's 6 weddings. We're just not going to 3. I think there's 7 weddings.
But the only one that matters to me and your mom is the 7th or the 8th wedding.
Not, I don't know.
The wedding after the one you're just invited to, but the one you're inviting people to.
When we get there, we'll talk about that. But we're not there yet. So right now we're going to weddings.
Maybe you being inviting all these weddings is just God's way of psychologically preparing you for the experience.
I have.
What do you think, guys? Is it a sign?
This is not what I want to talk about at all, because I have no interest in having a wedding. I have no. I just sign the paper. I don't even care if you sign the paper. Just handshake. I don't care. What is? No offense, and this is not a knock to you or me or the world that we're in. But what does it do to have someone marry you in front of a bunch of people, other than make me annoyed, sweaty, and anxious?
It allows you to celebrate that someone you love.
No, it's a monarchical way.
Maniacal? Maniacal?
No, I'm just it's of the monarchy.
Oh, monarch. That might be. I can't pronounce it.
I don't know how to say it. But this is an old tradition that I think needs to die. Just handshake deals. Just agree on what you agree on and disagree on what you disagree on, and I think we make it so intense. Anyways, we're going to all these weddings, so I had to make these suits, and so we made custom suits, and then we designed it. And I'm making some beautiful suits, which are exciting.
Can I call you out?
And we were in the design space, and we were like, why don't we do this? Why don't we open this up as a little business, as a part of what we do for Ghost Artifacts? Okay. And so I think, now we have this whole program. Now we have a suiting program. So we're we're talking about the clothes right now.
Right. No, I'm just going to call you out on the design.
Okay.
You said I had to make these suits because these weddings. You've been wanting to make suits for years.
Yeah, I mean, I get my first
10 years ago. You wanted to make suits.
No, I was making suits 10 years
Yeah.
ago. We made suits 10 years ago.
Yes, we did.
all Japanese fabric suits. Now
Mhm.
now I could never imagine making it from those fabrics. Like we have, we're using the best mills in the world. So they're all out of Italy and England, and they're phenomenal. And so we're working on those, and so yeah, I mean, it's pretty incredible to be able to build like a bespoke suiting program that's inside of this brand, which this brand really isn't about suiting necessarily, but it is about, confidence and feeling good in the clothes that you wear. And so I'm really excited to kind of build this program out and like build the client. We have a whole list of private clients that buy clothes from us and behind the scenes, and so this is exciting. I mean, I'm very excited.
But when you say our brand isn't about suiting, I think it is.
No, I'm saying like it isn't really like we're not suit guys.
No, but our brand is about, I hope I'm allowed to say this, our brand is about manliness.
Is it?
Yeah.
I just want to look good in the suit.
Yeah, we are focused on men's clothes.
Yes.
And we want men to feel confident and strong and look sharp.
Yeah, but women can wear our clothes too.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true. And I'm all for it.
Yeah. I mean, the hoodies are for everyone. And
Yeah,
I think the suits are going to be for everyone. But
that's true.
Yeah, it's exciting. I mean, but yeah, I get what you're saying. Like you want to feel good in a suit. And I think the reality is that I've never had a suit that I've owned that I've like felt good in. I've gotten to work for amazing brands and been a part of amazing stories, but having our own, space where we're choosing the fabrics and we're choosing the cuts and we're really like developing what that looks like. For me, I think it's important because for me, wearing a suit is very uncomfortable. I feel uncomfortable wearing one, and then wearing one that I feel uncomfortable in on top of that is both, right? So it's like to go through the process of creating and establishing this part of the brand, I think is really important for us, which is crazy because we've just established that this is what it's going to look like, and then we have suiting. So it's kind of this juxtaposition of the formal wear and normal wear.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you've really led the way in designing the suits.
Yeah.
They're going to look amazing.
So we make sweatsuits and suits. That's really we're the whole package. We're the whole package.
Yeah, and I guess we're gonna do bathing suits.
I was gonna see if he could make. I was trying to track down some. Oh shoot! I lowered my chair on accident. I was gonna see if you could make me one because I have this. I can't find anything that I like. It's hard to buy men's clothing. Like there's a ton of options, but what fits good on me doesn't fit well on you, and
Yeah, I think that when we work together, we create this interesting juxtaposition of elegant and bold. It's like it's simple and it also statement. And we're able to bring some really beautiful things. And when I wear something on Tuesday or Wednesday, I love being comfortable.
Yeah.
But I love style and I love I love the feel of luxury. I don't care about the name of luxury. I love when something feels wonderful, and I can wear it all day, and I want to sleep in it, and live in it.
Yeah.
And I think that's a huge part of it is bringing comfort to everything we create, and then you always bring this really smart minimalism to things. You look at things and you break them down, and you ask, I think, a basic question. How do I make this as minimal and elegant as possible?
Yeah.
And then from there you go, okay, now I need it to be comfortable.
Yeah. and we come from a different, way of seeing branding because, I want something to look so good, they have to ask where it's from.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And you want them to read it and know it and feel it. And it's a very, I'll always ask. I ask men all the time, where'd you get that? We're like, where's that from? Like, what designer is that? Or, where'd you find that? And I think that's the best compliment when someone's inquiring, who made this? I want people to do that. I want people to try to discover the brand. And so I'm excited. I'm excited about the me and you, the tag team, the doing this together. It's gonna be fun. I'm excited.
Yeah. I know. I'm so excited. And yes, there are going to be some things that will be bold and strong and loud like Ghost Artifacts on this hoodie. And that's for everyone who wants to wear the brand and the lifestyle and carry the story with us. And there are going to be some things that the branding will, the piece itself will demand more subtle branding.
Yeah.
And for me, with these pieces, the branding is a part of the piece. And with the suits, the branding will be more minimal because the suit itself will carry the brand.
Right.
I'm excited. I can't wait.
I'm excited too. Okay, so you have this mastermind coming up in the next month.
Oh, I do.
We talked about it
in May. That's right.
Jeez. We talked about it 2 weeks ago, but I really want to dive into it. And it's also the week of Easter, which you must be excited for. And talking about the ghost who walks, like literally, is there more of an image that's, based off of Jesus, which, that's the kind of, for us, it's a way of, I think even the name of Ghost Artifacts was kind of us being a little bit subversive and going like, we would never have started a brand called Fear of God.
Even though it's one of our favorite brands.
Oh, I'm obsessed with Jerry. I'm obsessed with Fear of God. I love what they do. But we would never have started that because it would have been too on the nose for us.
Yeah, for me, it would be.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
And now he's done such a wonderful job of building the universe around it, the ecosystem. So now you understand what it is and you understand what he's doing. And he's always surprising you. But for us, I think Ghost Artifacts was kind of rebellious in nature in of itself, right? It's like all the things that someone leaves behind. And we're very much about like looking into the future, but also paying attention to the past.
Well, one of my favorite verses in the Bible is in that moment where Jesus has already been crucified. The 3 days have passed. The women go to the tomb, and the angel says, "Why are you looking for the living among the dead?" And that's like such a great Easter passage. And that, for me, has always been such a profound question because I think most of us spend our lives looking for the living among the dead. And we end up looking for life among death. And so I do think Ghost Artifacts is this like wonderfully subtle, subversive statement, that our lives become the visible proof of the invisible reality. We become the artifacts. And it's the spirit that's alive in us that we become the proof of, which I think is so exciting. And so, I think what's really kind of what I love about our new brand is that it's subtle in that a person who doesn't believe in God, doesn't have faith, can really be pulled into the story. And then a person who does have faith and does believe in God can actually use the brand as a great launching point to have a conversation about what's the meaning behind Ghost Artifacts. And it's just a really great way to have a conversation about spirit.
Yeah, I'm excited. I'm very excited.
And so we have this mastermind you mentioned.
Well, we were, I was talking to some people who reached out from Battle Ready today or this last week since we've launched it, and we've been pretty nonstop. We've got Easter going. We've got all these new projects. We've got Mastermind. We have Mastermind coming up in May. And really it's this, it's you created this unique space for people to go deeper, in the scriptures, but also go into business and into relationships. And I think, people ask us often, I think whenever we start something new, they're like, are you leaving the last space? Do you have enough time because of Mosaic? Yeah. And really Mosaic does take up a lot of time for sure, right? It's
a life mission.
It is a life mission. But it is also a part of us and a part of who you are and the DNA and walk us through that, because even me moving more onto the business side of things and not preaching and stepping kind of away from that, I feel the shift of going back into the room and going, do I feel lost? Do I feel like I have a place? Do I feel like, am I still a part of this world or this team or these people? And for you, it must feel so bizarre. But it doesn't seem like it ever bothers you. You just kind of, you float into each space and you kind of just walk in each space with the same amount of confidence and happiness and joy, as the last one. Yeah. How do you live your life like that?
Yeah. I feel like most of my life I've lived it with very open hands. I don't really hold on to things very tightly. And I take full responsibility when I feel something has been entrusted to me, and I'm ready to let go of it when I feel like it's time for me to pass it on, and I learn how to live in that in between space. And so to me, Mosaic is my community. It's not my job. It's my family. It's my my place that I do life with other people and community there, and that's one of the reasons I find it to be so important when I'm not speaking that I am actually there.
Yeah.
And sometimes I'll pop up on the platform after Joe or Carlos or David or someone speaks, or Brooke or whoever it may be, and it's not really to be public, but to let people know,
like, I still go here.
I still go here. Yeah, I'm not only here when I'm speaking. I'm here when I'm learning. I'm here when I'm connecting. I'm here as a part of the community. I feel like it's a really important statement to make. And I just find incredible joy when I watch things going so well at Mosaic.
Yeah.
And I didn't have anything to do with it,
This is the best thing. Like, I didn't get to go to the worship night a couple weeks ago, and I chose to stay home and just get some rest. And you had told me you're gonna go.
I couldn't.
You're like, I'm not gonna go. I'm just gonna pop in, say hi to Mariah, and then take off and like let them do their thing. And then you got there and you bamboozled me because I had just gone home and I don't have a car, and now I'm Ubering around, and I'm like, no. And you're sending me photos. You're like, it's packed. It's full. We're back. It's alive. The energy's amazing. And like, you're not leaving, are you? You're like, I'm not leaving.
No. And it was great. Joe's message was amazing. The worship was incredible. And I was just there absorbing and experiencing and being a part of that whole night.
Yeah.
And so, as far as I know, I'm going to be a part of Mosaic, for all the foreseeable future, as long as I'm alive, and in some way or another, because it's my family, and it's never been. I've never been there because it was my job. Right. I've always been there because of a sense of calling, mission, commitment to this people and the city. At the same time, I've always done other things, and as I've lived my life, the longer you live your life, the more. If you live it well, the more you have to contribute to the world. And one of the frustrations for me was really 10% of my thinking, 10% of my experience, 10% of my knowledge is applicable to Sunday morning. And because when I'm teaching on Sunday morning, I'm not thinking, what's the wealth of knowledge I have to share? I ask the question, what do these people need to hear?
Right.
What does this room need to hear? What does this moment need? And I'm always working from the scriptures, and I'm teaching the Bible, and it's a really important thing that I do, but it's not all that I do. And I've just had to give myself permission to create domains where the rest of me gets to be experienced and lived.
Right.
And I love, I think a few weeks ago, I was in a conversation and someone said, look, basically, I love working with savants. I like working with people who have refined a high level of genius. I find incredible fulfillment and challenge, and I just think it's fun.
Yeah.
And as I was driving this morning, I was thinking how I'm not relationally lonely as a person. I have a great community. I have the gift of having my son as one of my best friends in the world, and my daughter living 4 minutes away, and so I'm not relationally lonely. But I always felt a little bit, I don't know how to say this, but like I always felt a little intellectually lonely.
Yeah. He just called us dumb. Just so we're clear.
You're not
and
dumb.
All of you listening too. He called you guys dumb too. We called us all.
I didn't call you dumb. I called you young.
Okay.
But for most of my life, I found myself feeling very isolated and alone. And some of it is that, when you're in the faith environment, if you're with other pastors, it's almost as if those pastors only want to talk about certain things. They're just not interested in a wide variety of things that I'm interested in. And so when I get to go into other spaces, then I get to activate those other parts of my brain. So I'm one of the people who are in the business world, or people who are in the world of science, or people who are in the world of arts, or people who are in the world of high creativity. I get to just become, a different side of myself, and so those masterminds are that we've designed, and we have 2 of them coming up in May, I decided I'm going to create space for people who are high octane performers. They're high achievers. They're people of extraordinary success in almost any measure. But I want to make sure that they live well and don't die alone, and that they actually have a community of peers, so there can be a higher level of trust and accountability and authenticity.
I love it.
And I was only going to open up one, but it filled up so fast that I had to open up the second one.
Right.
And the second one has filled up so quickly that it looks like there's going to be just so much more opportunity. And it's been really, really fascinating. And it's very expensive to come in. And a part of the reason it is very expensive is it becomes a natural filtering process for people of, oh, this is the right group for me.
Yeah.
And I'm willing to pay this price, because all these people are super busy. So if they're not paying a lot of money, they'll just cancel at the last minute. But when they're paying a lot of money to be in there, they're blocking that time off in their schedule.
Yeah.
And they also know that the other people in that group are as serious as them and are facing the same challenges in life.
I have to show you this.
Okay. Sorry. What's going on?
Sorry, no. They just sent those through. The first photos of the samples for the denim jacket. How sick
That is an extraordinary brand.
They finished.
Oh my gosh.
You can swipe. The side angle is cool. The text was, it comes with the model. It's Arturo.
Yeah. Well,
he makes it in his size every once in a while just
tell him
to keep
he
on.
looks great from the back.
Great from the back. I will. I'll tell him. It looks great.
It looks amazing, Aaron.
That's sick.
I'm excited. Ghost Artifacts coming to you soon.
It is coming to you
All
soon.
right. So, and one of the challenging things with the Mastermind is I've never advertised it, because you can't really advertise this kind of experience or this kind of community. It's sort of the thing where you don't see any commercials for Ferrari.
Yeah, no.
You don't see commercials for what?
Like
Lamborghinis?
No.
You might see some for Porsche, right?
You do see something for Porsche.
A few.
Yeah, you do. You see,
Yeah, but there's a lot of commercials for Honda and Toyota, which are great cars. And a lot of commercials.
Like pro-consumer cars, like consumer cars. Yes, absolutely.
And so, when I started this Mastermind, I realized I can't really advertise this in a generic way, because this has a very, very unique audience. And so it's all been word of mouth. And what's been crazy is how the word of mouth has dominoed around the world. And people have been asking about signing up, and I'm excited. I'm excited to invest in these guys. And I was really blatant. I said, this Mastermind is going to be intensely spiritual and focused on your personal development of your inner world. And I had this other guy who does coaching and does some masterminds. And, he was explaining to me why, he had to have an airplane, and why he had to have a yacht, and why he had to have all these houses and mansions, and always showing them. And he said, because I coach all these people, so I need them to see that I live an aspirational life. And I told him, I said, the funny thing about it is that you're coaching people who aren't as rich as you. And so they're aspiring to be you. Everyone I'm coaching is way richer than me. And so I'm not going to inspire them by what I have, because they have that 100-fold. And I told him, I said, I actually believe that if I had nothing, my life would still be aspirational.
Right.
And that's, I think, to me, is the critical difference. When you strip yourself of everything else, is your life still aspirational? And so I'm really excited about investing in these men. And I just did it for men. There are a lot of amazing women, incredibly top-tier, high-performing women. I just thought, I'm going to start it for guys, try to create an environment where there can be incredible level of transparency, authenticity, openness, and help them build friendships with other men that they might not meet, because they're all, conquering their own areas and didn't know there are other guys just like them. Yeah.
It's an incredible idea, an incredible concept. And it's been fun to kind of to connect with people, and already people are messaging and DMing and getting ready to fly out here for the first one and in the end of May. And it's exciting. It's a really exciting space. But more than that, I think it's just realize that there are people out there who are like-minded, and there are people out there who are willing to invest in themselves in order to be a part of a community, to have accountability. Really, it's a lot of it's just accountability of accountability of thought, accountability of of ideas, accountability of showing up and being present and engaging and not being on your phone and not being a distracted person, but actually going, am I going to grow? I take 2 days out of my life to grow, 6 days a year just to go deeper into whatever it is, whether it's God, whether it's business, whether it's character, leadership, all the different things you're going to bring up, I'm sure, in these things. And for me, being not qualified, if people are far more successful than you, then people are infinitely more successful than me. But the one thing that I've always loved working with you is that it really isn't. You always walk into rooms as if you don't belong there, but that you're just happy to be there. You never. I don't know. At least maybe that's the wrong way of putting it. But you never like expect to be in the room. You're always just like, wow, I'm in the room. And you treat it like this beautiful moment of this beautiful serendipitous collision of life. I don't know how I got here, but I'm here, so let's do something with it. And the way you look at life is really unique, and I think there's something to learn from that, because even the way you look at design and that things are loud and joyful and surprising and for me everything is much more grayscale and sleek. And if something makes you feel or look a certain way, I don't like it. I want things to feel and look a certain way, and it's very control. We talked about love and control the last time, but it's very control oriented and detail oriented. But for you, you have this like freedom of life. You're that like light is constantly bouncing off of every object and image and human, and you're just receiving it and understanding it and going with it. And I think it's such a beautiful way of seeing the world. It's exciting for me to even be a part of it, because getting to really envelop all of the things that we've learned at Mosaic and in church, and really going, okay, this is what we've already learned through the scriptures, through community, through engaging, through generosity, through giving, through tithing, through serving, and this is how you put it in a formula, and the formula is all those things is, being generous, being selfless, being patient, being kind. But I think it's such a good thing to know. And even like the guys who came a couple weeks ago, and like both of them gave their lives to Jesus, and they were so pumped about it and texting about it, and big guys, manly men, and just being excited and having these life change is really, really cool to watch. I'm excited for Easter. I've been so excited for Easter, even like a little kid at a candy shop, because the 1 week that we get to be nightclub promoters for church. Like, I'm hitting up as many people as I can, just like come. There's no reason not to come. There's no reason not to say yes and to show up and to be there and experience it. I think we have like 12 to 15 people coming, which is exciting.
That's amazing.
We might have 20, which I think would be really cool. And I just want to have the best time. I just want it to be a life-changing experience, So, shout out to the team at Mosaic, shout out to all the crew that's getting that stuff ready. I'm excited. So,
yeah, there's just something beautiful about Easter. And, even though we know the message is the same every week in terms of Jesus has risen from the dead, and that's true every day, and it's true every Sunday.
Yeah.
There's something special about Easter. And, even before I became a person of faith, the one time we ever would walk into a Catholic Mass was on Easter, because we somehow knew that was a special and sacred day, and which was really, really special. And I'm texting my friends, I'm inviting people, I'm leveraging it as much as I can, because I know this is the one time some people who have said no will say yes. Yeah. And can't wait to see them there. But the third thing I think I'd love to just highlight is I just got the cover back on my new book called MindShift.
It's exciting.
It is.
It's very exciting.
I'm hoping it'll be up on Amazon by the time we release this podcast.
It's up there, but
all right.
Oh, let's give it a sneak peek. Yeah.
How do we do that?
Well, we're gonna show it. We'll put it on YouTube.
All right. So here it is. I'm gonna pretend I'm gonna pull it up on my phone, and then Austin at the same time is gonna put it up on the screen for you.
Really magical. The play-by-play.
It's gonna be like so magical. It's gonna be amazing. Here we go, guys. I'm clicking it. There it is. And it's called MindShift. And
read us the new subtitle.
It doesn't take a genius to think like one. Ooh, I love that. And I am so excited about this book. And, because when I first was thinking about the book, it's really practical genius. And in fact, that was probably one of the first titles I was pitching was let's just call it practical genius.
Uh-huh.
And because genius doesn't have to be about physics. It doesn't have to be about chess. It doesn't have to be about math. It doesn't have to be about biology. Genius can actually be about real life, about practical things. And,
Wow.
and in this book, there are 12 significant mind shifts we have to make that will unlock in a very real way practical genius and will move people towards sustainable success. And one of the things that's to me so important about this book is that this is my first book that if you look at like a Barnes and Noble, they have different sections for books, like psychology section, the Christianity section, the religion section, the self-help section. And this is the first book I've written that will not be in the Christianity section or in the religion section or the spirituality section. This book is going to be in two sections. It's going to be in the business section. It's going to be in the social psychology section.
Very cool.
And I'm very excited about it. And it's a business social psychology book that I've written so that this message and narrative can go across the world. And I'm so grateful I had the chance to write The Genius of Jesus. And if people really appreciate my writing and my approach toward thinking and communicating, if they want me to help them communicate Jesus, pick up The Genius of Jesus. If you want me to help you open up someone's mind to the possibilities that there are better ways of living and a way of unlocking real practical genius, this is the book. And so I need everyone who knows me, who knows my story, knows my history, who's read books in the past, to help me get this book out into the market, to get this in the hands of, hundreds of thousands, if not millions of people across the world. And so if you're listening, I'm going to just ask you right now, go to Amazon or go to Barnes & Nobles and pre-order the book right now. And pick up MindShift. One of my friends that I work with in the business sector told me he's already, I think, ordered 10 or 20 books for everyone in his executive team of his company.
That's exciting.
Which I'm excited about.
Yeah.
And so I just need us. I need everyone who is a part of our family, part of our community, part of our tribe, to join us in this.
Yeah, so go and pre-order it, which is kind of exciting. I mean, it's super exciting. I woke up this morning and the book cover had finally dropped into the Slack, and it was a celebration. I called you. I was like, I don't know if this is the right one. I don't know if this is the one we should do. I always get scared at the last minute. I'm always the hesitant one, the reluctant one. But I'm really excited. I think this is going to be a book that really alters a lot of people's minds and really shifts. And
you don't have to be a genius to think like one.
You don't have to be a genius to think like one. As you told us earlier, that you hang out with a bunch of non-geniuses, which is, thanks for slumming it, man. Thanks for just being there with us.
That's not really what I said. It may have been what I meant. I don't know.
Anyways, I think we could wrap this up, yeah?
All right, yeah.
Okay.
Well, I don't know. I'm not smart enough to know whether we should end right now.
I don't even know how to close. How do you even speak? No. So this podcast took a little bit of work because I was so combative in the beginning. Like, that's not the right story. Like, that's not how we started the name. That's blah, blah, blah. And you pulled out a note and we're like, boom. 1 year ago, like
almost to the week.
Like, the last week to next week, we have been coming up with Ghost Artifacts and like really concepting everything out and like building everything. So I'm really excited to launch this.
And one of the things I've learned is whenever I have a moment of inspiration, I put it in notes.
Yeah, you do.
And
you do.
Because you have something that comes to you in that moment and you think you'll remember it, but you may not. But also, I love remembering the moment. And it allows me almost like to go back to the original well of thought, and it allows me to begin to allow my creative juices to flow again, and I think it's true across the board. It's just, even when we talk about Easter, I want to maybe close with this. Like, the best way for me to prepare to speak on Easter Sunday is to remember when I first was encountered with the reality of Jesus and when I experienced my life being changed by him. Because then I'm not writing a new message or writing a message that is objective or separate from me. I'm really telling my story and connecting it to this moment. And I think it's so important to always go back to primary source. And when you're talking about God and you're talking about who Jesus, when you're talking about faith, if you don't have a primary source in your soul, the message is always going to fall flat.
I love that. I love that. And you came in today and you were like, man, we should have shot this piece of content. I like wrote my talk with Joe yesterday inside the building, and me and us were like, why? Why didn't you call us? We were one room over. Like, we would have filmed the whole thing. We could have released it to the world. So maybe one day you'll grace us. You'll gift us your process. Because I've asked you so many times, just let me put a camera on you and just like do it, like show the thought process, show
but you don't know when the magic's going to happen. Like I said, Joe, come on with me. And I grabbed him and we went to the auditorium and the giant white space that we have there as a screen.
Yeah.
And so I said, all right, Joe, look at the screen. And I said, now, this is what I need you to see. He goes, there are 5 words up there that we're going to use in our talk, but I don't know what those 5 words are yet. And I said, help me find the 5 words. And so he starts working on sentences, but they're like, no, Joe, that's 7 words. No, Joe, that's 9 words. No, that's 8 words. And we just kept working and working. And then as we're kind of like brainstorming, I saw it. I said, no, Joe, I think this is it. Should I say it?
Yeah, say it.
Yeah. Life comes out of death. So those are our 5 words. I said, now what we're going to do is we're going to take those 5 words, and every single point in this message is going to come out of the central words: out, death, life. And we're going to have Austin and our creative team take that sentence, and it won't look like the sentence is changing, but the word's going to get bigger. And out's going to come out. And we're going to talk about out, how all of us need a way out. We're all looking for a way out. Then we're talking about death, and how death encapsulates all of our fears and all of our doubts and all the uncertainties. But we're actually all searching for his life. And I said, the word's going to just start illuminating differently. So they're going to have a visual story of the story we're telling through the auditory mechanism. And so we just create the talk right there. I said, and then there's going to be a verse that's going to be cut in the top half that says, why are you looking for the living among the dead? And we wrote that whole talk. And
that was not a whole talk. I don't know what you just did there.
What do you mean?
You painted with air.
It's the structure for an entire message.
The concept. Yeah.
Yeah.
So how did you base, like, where do you start? Where do you finish?
Well, I mean, one, I knew it was Easter.
Yeah.
So the passage that was coming through my mind, echoing, was, why are you looking for the living among the dead?
Right.
And so we're trying to find a 5-word sentence that could encapsulate the principle or the truth
5?
around
Why
that.
not 6? Why not 7?
Because I saw 5 in my imagination, and because that's what I saw on that screen. And so, yes, it's very subjective. There's an artistry to it. There's a design to it. But it's even true when I write the book. I mean, sometimes Elisa will say, "Hey, they made an edit. The sentence went from 9 words to 8. Are you okay?"
Yeah.
And because she knows after all these years that the number of words in a sentence actually matters to me.
Right.
And so when I'm writing a book, I'm not just writing random sentences. It's not just the words, it's the cadence of the words and the number of words in that sentence. And sometimes I'll go back to him and say, no, you can't do this. This sentence has to have 7 words, or the sentence is designed for 8 words. And
they must hate you, honestly. Like you always complain about the publisher, but I just wonder what they say when they go home and they're like, I'm working with an insane person.
I'm comfortable with my insanity. And if you cannot hear the music behind the lyrics, don't try to rewrite my song.
Okay. We have gone off on a tangent. I love you so much. I'm so proud of you for finishing this book and getting this thing done. It has been a laborious project of getting this thing finished, and I'm really excited, and I'm proud. And we are getting ready for Easter. So if you were listening and you go to church or you've never gone to church, you should go. Go try it out. Go figure it out. Go on a journey. And if you're here and you're part of a church and you are getting ready to encounter and embark on the what is the journey of Easter, good luck. We're praying for you. We're there for you, and have the most fun. Remember,
And if you're
everything
listening-
can go. Remember, everything can go wrong, and that's okay.
Yeah.
Just enjoy it. Have fun. Remember, people are in there for the first time.
Or join us on Sunday
Join us on Sunday, Mosaic.
and listen to this 5 words being fleshed out.
Yes. All right. We'll see you guys next week or a week very soon. Bye, guys.
All right. Take care.